What's going on, guys? Another day, another flannel. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be going over some of my old school horror films, typically ranging from about the 1920s to the 1960s. You got all your classics in there. Some are silent films, some are not so silent. So with that said, let's get it going. Alright, so as you guys may have noticed, I have a little, kind of a turny shelf next to my main shelf, and what I have on here is just kind of different genres. Got like action adventure on this side. I've got my old school films on this one here. Let me just give you a quick breeze through before I break them all down here. Alright. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. First off, 13 Ghosts, an excellent kind of introductory horror film. That one's a lot of fun. 5,000 Fingers of Dr. T. I believe this is Dr. Seuss's only directorial film. It's very creepy, honestly. Definitely not horror. Kind of sci-fi almost. It's very strange. 20 Million Miles to Earth, awesome Ray Harryhausen creature feature. Alligator People, awesome. Just cheese, man. All of these, honestly, are super cheesy now, but I just can't get enough of these. I've always been a huge fan of these kind of 50s black and white horror films. The Angry Red Planet. This is a good one, but the kind of effects are definitely overwhelming. It kind of hurts your eyes. Got Attack of the Puppet People. Very reminiscent of the incredible Shrinking Man. Very cool. Just, you know, small people dealing with shit. The Birds, one of my favorite from Alfred Hitchcock. The Black Scorpion. This one's a sleeper for sure. This one's a lot of fun, man. Just huge ass Black Scorpion. The Black Sleep. Oh man, you've got every 50s heavy hitter in this one. Look at all those names. This one's a lot of fun. Definitely a great old school horror film. Black Sunday, an awesome gothic film from Mario Bava. Got Barbara Steele in there. This one's pretty intense, man. That one's a lot of fun. Up next is The Blob. Obviously, you got Steve McQueen. Just a great drive-in flick, man. So much fun. I highly recommend that one. Huge fan of the remake as well. Body Snatcher. Fun Boris Karloff film. Another kind of gothic one set in the old days. Brain That Wouldn't Die. I love this movie, guys. If you had to check one of the 50s films out, I would highly recommend that one. Might be 60s. Burn Witch Burn. This one's honestly a little bit slower. Not one of my favorites, personally. Cabinet of Dr. Caligari. This one is the oldest film in my collection, guys. 1920. This film is great. And obviously, you can tell this has that German expressionism style. Tim Burton really kind of took that and ran with it. You can definitely see that he was intrigued with that movie and loved that style. Carnival of Souls, fantastic film from 1962. Definitely recommend this one. Cat People, another slower one, super old too. I believe this one's 1940s. Really good film. Check that one out if you haven't. Colossus, The Forbin Project. This is about as fun of a movie as you can expect with a 60s film regarding a computer. This might be 70 or 71, but I just kind of classified this one with those ones as well. Colossus of New York. Not the biggest fan of this one, personally. Just that big Colossus monster there. Curse of the Faceless Man, another one that kind of fell short for me. This one's very short, a little over an hour. Down below, we have the Cyclops. Awesome movie, guys. This one's really good. Love that one a lot. Lon Chaney Jr.'s in that one. The Day the Earth Stood Still. Awesome. Classic. This is early 50s. This is OG, man. This is right up there with War of the Worlds in terms of the importance to the sci-fi horror genre in the early 50s. The Deadly Mantis. Awesome. Killer huge mantis in, like, set in snow. Kind of really cool. Deluge. One of, if not the first post-apocalyptic kind of disaster movie. Really surprised with a lot of the effects in this one. Really like that one. That's like early to mid 30s, I believe. Devil Bat. All you hear the entire film is the screeching of this bat, man. It gets to be a bit too much. Die Monster Die. Awesome movie, but not one of my favorites. Dr. Cyclops. Really older film. Some of the stuff in this is really surprising. It's in color. It's from 1940. And it's in color. Check this one out, man. It's a spectacle. Donovan's Brain, one of my favorites from this era, 1953. So much fun. Check this one out if you haven't. I'm just gonna be saying that with all these, honestly, except this one. Earth Dies Screaming, not a fan. don't remember too much from that, but other than not really liking it too much. Earth versus the Flying Saucers, one of, if not my favorite 50s film. I'm gonna say that with all these as well. Just fantastic, man. Great effects. Ray Harryhausen worked on this film, and it's in color too. Very beautiful. Forbidden Planet, just a classic. Downright classic. Old school Leslie Nielsen. Four Skulls of Jonathan Drake. Not a huge fan of this one. This character I just couldn't stand, personally. Just annoying. From Hell It Came. Killer Trees. Killer Voodoo Trees. It's kind of all you gotta say. A Game of Death, a really, oh, I mean, not unique. It's a take on Most Dangerous Game, but this is probably one of my favorite adaptations of that book or film. The Giant Behemoth, another one of those just kind of blasé films. You know, there's so many of these influx of kind of sea creature films, you know, whether they're dinosaurs or just other seaworthy creatures. Speaking of seaworthy creatures, got Godzilla. Have to have that in the collection. Awesome Japanese film. The Green Slime, a film very kind of reminiscent of kind of like Alien and, you know, just space aliens. A lot of fun. Homicidal, a fantastic movie from William Castle. Really, really fun. This one's a kind of like a gender bending film. Really fun. House of Wax with Vincent Price, classic. Great movie. I Bury the Living. This is a huge sleeper hit, guys. If you haven't seen this one, check it out. It feels like a feature-length Twilight Zone film. A lot of fun. Really, really like that one. I Saw What You Did, and I Know Who You Are. This one's a pretty okay film. It's pretty tame in terms of William Castle standards. Just kind of like when prank calls go bad. Resituate here. The Incredible Two-Headed Transplant. Had a lot more fun with this than I thought I was going to. Really enjoyed that one. Invasion of the Body Snatchers, the original. I love this film, guys. Love, love, love it. I prefer this over the 1970s film. I was going to say the specific year, but I can't remember. Love that movie. Invisible Invaders, another one I don't really remember much from, if I'm going to be honest with you. Another short one, 67 minutes long. Island of Lost Souls. This is one of my favorite 30s films. Just fantastic, man. So good. So good. Great release. Island of Terror. This one's okay, not bad. I mean, it showed some pretty intense stuff. Peter Cushing gets his hand cut off in this one. It Came from Outer Space. Absolute classic. Richard Carlson. Just great time. Monster, and that's awesome. It, The Terror from Beyond Space. This is Alien. Alien totally got its cues from this film. You know, it's almost the exact same thing. Check this one out if you're a fan of Alien. A lot of fun. Journey to the Seventh Planet, very reminiscent of The Angry Red Planet. Just, you know, another astronaut out in space film. And it's funny with a lot of these films, they're before we actually went to the moon. So, you know, there's like no lack of gravity in the space capsules. It's pretty funny. King Kong, 1933, absolute classic. Gotta have that. This is the digibook version. The Leech Woman, an awesome voodoo style film. A lot of fun. Really enjoyed this one. The Magnetic Monster, another one that I watched I can't really remember too much about, if I'm being honest with you. The Man from Planet X, a very early kind of entry into the sci-fi horror genre, early 50s. A lot of fun, and this little guy's so hokey. Look at him. Look at that little guy. Come on now. Oh man, so good. The Man Who Could Cheat Death, probably one of my favorite Hammer films. Yeah, just a really good time. The Manster, another fantastic one. This one takes place in Japan, which is kind of cool. Not a lot of these creature features from the 50s and 60s take place in Japan, so really unique setting and really enjoyed it. The Maze, pretty good one. Seeing Richard Carlson, he's in a lot of the classic 50s, 60s films. Was hoping a little bit more of that one, but still an enjoyable time nonetheless. Metropolis, one of the most, I think, influential films ever. It was just a masterpiece when it was released, and still is. Fantastic spectacle of a movie, man. Just over the top, fantastic. The Mole People, awesome. Awesome. The Mole People aren't even the bad ones, guys. You gotta watch it. It's so good. The Monolith Monsters, Killer Rocks. Killer rocks. How can you go wrong? Monster on the Campus. A good kind of university one that's super cheap. I mean, look at that guy. A lot of fun. Love that cover. That's the thing about these movies, guys, is the cover sells these films. And honestly, about half the time, they're better than the film themselves. But I just love that artwork, man. It's so fun to collect these. The Monster of Peaches Blancas, a Creature from the Black Lagoon ripoff. Honestly, it's pretty hairy for its time. I mean, you see him with the head. If I recall, I don't remember that scene. I don't even know if it's even in the movie, but might just be used for advertising, but a lot of fun. The Monster That Challenged the World, probably one of my favorite kind of sea creature films. I love that centipede, man. It's really good effects in this one. Really enjoyed that, and that cover is fantastic. All right, down to the next one here. We have Mr. Sardonicus, another William Castle film. A lot of fun. I believe Boris Karloff is, or I'm sorry, Lon Chaney Jr. Correct me if I'm wrong. Yep, I think I'm wrong. All right, moving on. Night of the Demon, awesome. This is otherwise known as Curse of the Demon. This one, there's a scene at the end where this thing just rips a dude to shreds. Pretty hairy for the time it was released. Really surprised to see that. A lot of fun. Night of the Living Dead, my favorite 1960s film. Just an outright classic. Just perfect. Masterpiece, almost. Okay, up next is Nosferatu. Obviously one of kind of the most highly touted silent films of the era. Just phenomenal. It holds up. It's still really creepy. Up next is Phantom from 10,000 Leagues. This is another one that just kind of falls victim of that another sea creature dinosaur film. Yeah, just another drone. Planet of Vampires from Mario Bava. A good film. The creatures are fun. A lot of good effects in this one. The Projected Man. Good, not great. Some really good effects. Look at that guy. Put this down here, I have more room. All right, Psycho, absolute classic. Another one, just bloody brilliant. The Quatermass Experiment. This is a fun one, man. You feel really bad for the guy with his hand. He's a really pitiable fellow. A lot of fun. The Queen of Outer Space. This one's in color as well. A lot of fun. A lot of fun. Rosemary's Baby. Another absolute classic. Just a slow burn that'll kill you right at the end. All the older people surrounding her at the end used to scare the hell out of me. Santa Claus Conquers the Martians. If you're wondering if this is a horror movie, just look at that. Does that not scare the hell out of you? It scares the hell out of me, guys. Look at that. Look at that Santa. Just ridiculous, man. Ridiculous. Strangely creepy, too. I don't know. Screaming Skull. Awesome. And just look at that cover. Absolutely beautiful. She-Devil, a really, really fun time. I highly recommend this one if you haven't. It's about a woman that can kind of, she's a chameleon. She can change her shape and her hair color and everything, and really, really good film. Straight Jacket, one that I'm actually not the biggest fan of, if I'm going to be honest with you. Yeah, Joan Crawford, I mean, kills it. She always does, but I don't know what it was. It just felt like it was lacking something. The Thing from Another World, the original. Classic, man. Obviously, if you're a huge fan of the John Carpenter film, I don't know if you'll like this. It's obviously not as over the top. This one's more of kind of like a study, but nevertheless, this one's a lot of fun. Creature's fun. Love that one. This Island Earth, a classic that I just am not as much of a fan of. You got the Metaluna Mutants in there. I believe this is in color. Yeah, pictured in the back of the color, idiot. Just look at the back. Yeah, decent, good time. The Tingler, one of my favorites. I love this movie so much. So much. Vincent Price plus William Castle. You're going to win every single time. Tobor the Great. This is more so of kind of like a family-friendly one. Not awful. The Undying Monster, a very good 1940s film that honestly would fit right in with a lot of the Universal monsters. Just a type of werewolf there. Awesome movie. Really enjoyed that one. Alright, last shelf here. We have The Uninvited, a fantastic movie. I didn't know much about it at all, if anything, going in. It's like a haunted house film, but it has a strange sense of humor for it. Honestly, I would kind of regard this as almost a horror comedy, which is, I mean, rare for 1944, you know? I mean, this one was really ahead of the curve. one of my favorite 40s films. Fantastic movie. The Vampire. I almost wish this one had a more unique name. That way it could just be more known, you know? You just hear The Vampire, it's like, oh. But this one is one of my favorite vampire films. Really, really good. A lot of fun. Really good effects and makeups work in that one. War of the Worlds, of course, mentioned earlier. Just absolute staple of the genre of the time and still today. Just, especially this edition, guys. If you haven't checked out this Criterion Collection edition, you must remedy that. It looks like it was made yesterday. Really fantastic. Criterion killed it with that release. The Wasp Woman, yeah, it's depicted as a wasp body with a female head, but she's actually that. So, a little less beautiful, don't you think? And, really cheap. Not one of my favorites, personally. The Wizard of Oz. Why is this in the horror selection, you may ask? This movie scares the hell out of me, guys. Still to this day. It has a really undeniably creepy tone. There's a lot of, obviously I'm not going to say it's a horror film, but it definitely has horror undertones. I mean, the flying monkeys, the witch, the other witch that got ran over, the guards, just scary, man. The trees, fuck, man. Scary. World Without End here, awesome. Really, really love that movie. I kind of wish they would have put the original cover art. Is that? Look at that. That's so cool. It's a 50s film based in the future where things are reverted to the past. So if you can hold on to that concept, then that one's a lot of fun. X, The Man with X-Ray Eyes, classic movie. Ray Milland. This film made me a huge fan of his. Fantastic movie. Just so cool. Really recommend that one. And then, of course, at the bottom of this shelf here, I've got the Twilight Zone, the complete series on Blu-ray. Look at all those discs, man. Just awesome. Hefty little set, too. Pretty heavy. All 156 episodes on, 24 discs? But yeah, I'm going to take you over to the big shelf, and then I'll show you some of the older films I have over there as well. Alright, so back at the main shelf here, I pulled aside a couple of the releases that are from that older era that I have over here, but I have them in the boutique section just to kind of keep them together. I know I already went over these, but I figured I'd include them in this video as well. I have Black Sabbath, awesome anthology film. Blood and Black Lace, absolute classic giallo film, very important in regards to the slasher genre. Blood Feast, if you watch my Hero video film, this is not a good film, but for the time it was pretty shocking and surprising. Good, I mean, not good gore, but back in the day, some intense stuff. Another one here is The Incredible Shrinking Man, obviously a huge classic and one of my personal favorites from that era. A lot of good effects. Then also, if you come down here to the Severin film section, you've got The Brides of Blood and The Mad Doctor of Blood Island, kind of Filipino exploitation horror. Decently fun time. The Horror of Party Beach is I have recalled being another Creature from the Black Lagoon kind of rip-off. A lot of fun, though, on a beach. I mean, where else would it be? It's a lagoon. And then, of course, Terrorism Man, another fantastic film that I really, really appreciate and enjoy. Good one. So yeah, guys, that's my 50s, 60s, 40s, 30s, 20s films. See you in a second. I would also be remiss if I didn't include the good old 30 film set. Classic Monsters, just awesome. As good as it gets in terms of that black and white era, just the atmosphere of these films, the gothic nature, just, it's hard to beat those. Gotta have this in the collection. So thanks for coming by and checking out my old school horror films, guys. I love the old school era, you know, the 1920s to the 1960s. Just a fun time. Cheesy by today's standards, but great nonetheless. Don't forget to subscribe. Make sure you check out my other collection updates. I have an Instagram at SlashinCaptain where I post collection updates there as well. And also slasher film reviews with kill counts and fun facts. I have a horror podcast called It's a Horror Podcast if you want to check that out as well. Till next time, guys. See you later.